Welcome to Clarity TV. I am so excited for the guest that we are interviewing today. Our guest today believes that life lessons are best learned by experience. LaTarsha has defied odds. She has proven that statistics are only data, and as she continues to shatter glass ceilings, her story is inspiring people around the world. She was a walking statistic, high school dropout, 4 children by the age of 22, welfare recipient, low self-esteem, mentally, verbally, and physically abused, and homeless with 6 children. The predictable outcome was a life of poverty, dependency on welfare, uneducated, and underemployment with little chance of success. While living as squatter, she decided this would not be her fate. So I want you to help me welcome Dr. LaTarsha Holden. So Dr. Holden, I'm going to finish your bio because we're not done. And you can start your video right now. There we go. So in the last 10 years, you have gone from being homeless with your 6 children to a political candidate in last year's election, from a GED to a doctoral degree in leadership, and to be the author of 12 books. You've also recently launched your website, 3elementsinc.com. First of all, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Yes, this is that. I have to pinch myself because I have this job of talking to cool people all day long. I'm just so excited to get to know you today. So let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about maybe the elephant in the room, right?
Okay.
What, how, what was the driving force that led your family out of the situation of homelessness? Tell us about that.
Oh my goodness. I think for me, I just decided to fight. I'm not a person. Fighting, period, is not even in my vocabulary. I'm a peacemaker by nature. And so I found myself in a homeless situation after leaving an abusive marriage. And I had a GED. And I just realized one day we was living in a board-up house as squatters. And I was pacing that floor one night, and I was just crying out to God just to help me because I didn't have anything. I was uneducated, underemployed, and I just had to do something to fight for my family. And so, right before we went into homeless, I went to my kids because I was contemplating suicide. And I told my kids, I said, well, I wanted to give them the only thing I had to give them. The only thing I had to give them was unconditional love. And I wanted to show them how to care for other people, how to serve other people. And I felt that if I can teach them how to serve at our Lord, then I've given them a strong foundation to build on to become great leaders. And that was one of the main key things that my children took, and they're leading as leaders as well right today.
So, it's amazing. And so that moment, and allow me to explore, because that moment when you were really saying, I am done. There's nothing I can do. The only way out for me is to take my life, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Other than the moment where you said, well, there's one more option, right? There's something or someone bigger than us, and that's this God that supports you. But what is the next step one takes? Like literally, what did you do next?
Well, to be honest with you, we was homeless for 2 years. So we talking about from sleeping in empty apartments, board-up homes, shelters. It was the last 10 years was the hardest time of my life. But I remember one day I walked into a hospital, and I told the lady at the desk, I said, I don't want to live anymore. She said, ma'am, are you saying you want to kill yourself? I said, yes. And they kept me for a week for observation, and they had a padded room there. And I just asked the lady, can I go into that room? She said, you don't have to. I said, I know it, but I just need to go in there to pray. And I just went in there every day, dropped to my knees, and I cried out to God. I said, please help me. I don't have anything. I'm considered dumb. uneducated. I'm 35 years old at this time. And when I came out that hospital, I just had a little bit more wind beneath my wings to keep going. And so that was just that I had to keep fighting. I realized nobody was going to fight for my 6 children and myself but me.
Well, as I'm hearing you, what I hear is also that there was an action that you took, and it was you reach out to another human being, call it the lady at the hospital, and because and some people don't even do that, right? But you were smart enough to reach out to another human being, and all she gave you was a room where you could pray.
Well, yeah, they kept, because I was thinking of suicide, they admitted me to the hospital for a week observation. But they had a room in there, it was a better room for those who was really dangerous to themselves. I just voluntarily went in there. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't raised in the church. The guys got to know each other in the trenches.
And you found God in that room. That's just amazing. That's just amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me ask you this. I mean, at that time you were 35, you have your children. But who were you and who are you? What has been with you all your life that you know that at the end of the day, there is something about you that you can count on? What is that?
I think it's my compassion and empathy for others. God has given me definitely a double dose of empathy, and just to want to make the world a better place with my gifts and talents. That's been me since I was a little girl. And even if you just look back and Google me, everything I've done up until now has always been where I'm showing love and service and compassion to others.
I love that. And in to some extent, that was also what got you out of there and has kept you going. Now, let's talk about your work, because fast forward, 10 years. So how long have you been out of that situation of homelessness now? 10 years?
Yeah, about 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, so
about 10. Yeah, about 10 years. About 7 years, because 10 years, the first 2 years of my college years, we were homeless.
Wow. And I because of our conversations, I know you just hugged one of your babies goodbye.
Yes. Right? Oh my goodness. And everyone is taking the mantle up and leading. My oldest son came to me his senior year and said, "Mom, my way of giving back by what you showed us when we did events in the community is joining the United States Marine Corps." He just retired after 10 and a half years. Now he's just enrolled in college to get a biology degree. I have another daughter that's an EMT. She's in college getting a bachelor's degree. The daughter who I just saw off yesterday, she's going to the Army boot camp as of yesterday. I saw her off on a bus, and she's about to graduate with her bachelor's. I have a 17-year-old daughter who's a Christian, 2-time Christian published author. Wow. So everyone took the mantle that I showed them and leading in their own way.
I have chills all over my body just listening to you. I'm just so honored to just even have this time with you. And I hope our listeners realize the privilege they have to just hear you speak. So you've actually, in the last 8-10 years, not only have you gotten yourself out of that situation, improved yourself, as you say, you light this match for your children. They're all kind of carving beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a mother of 4 children, and I know it's so hard to raise children these days, and to keep them on track, driven, healthy. It takes a lot of effort. So I commend you for that. But now you've also turned this energy that you used to help yourself and your children, you've turned it onto the world, and your work is now this energy. So tell me about your work. Let me ask you first, because I think there's a few layers of your work. Let me ask you first, what would possess you to run for a public office?
Good. You know, I made a vow to God. I said, God, if you get me out of homelessness and hopelessness, I'll go back and fight for others. And so when I found that that seat was going to be open in my district, matter of fact, I ran the lady who just won mayor for Atlanta, Keisha Bottoms. She was leaving her seat to run for mayor. That's the seat I was running for. And I just knew that the people needed to see someone who knows the plight of their troubles and been where they're at, a sign of hope. So I ran to show that I stand with them. And I was going to use the same fight that I had for my 6 children and myself to come out of homelessness to fight for them. So even though I didn't win, I tell you, I did excellent at the polls. I only lost about 400 votes before going into the runoff. And I was the underdog, but it was definitely a great journey to see my children stand up there and hold those signs. And, you know, out there when I qualified, and even to have one of my daughters go into that voting booth, she was standing next to me. And when we walked out, she said, Mom, that was like so surreal. I actually checked your name off on a ballot.
Yeah, I was going to say, it can only feel surreal.
Yeah, that was wow.
Alternate reality, you know, just, you know, I think for many people out there listening and for all of us, you know, we walk our walk and we do our thing and we wake up in the morning and we take on the day. And many times we don't even realize the journey we've been.
Yes.
And that moment was one of those moments that it was like a 2x4 in your head.
Yeah.
The walk you've walked, right? And
yeah.
And so, you know, and so let me ask you this. So what possessed you to write 12 books? I barely have time to brush my teeth with 4 children, so I don't know.
I know. Oh my goodness. You know what? I knew, I remember when I was in a PhD program, one of my classmates said, Pastor, I'm not trying to be funny, but where do you have time to write anything else? We have so much classwork. And by me being an empath, I just hear the cries of the people. I see the cries of our youth. And so I wrote my life story. Mm-hmm. I wrote a 4-part youth series for youth dealing with sex trafficking, teen dating violence, bullying, touching on issues that our kids are facing today. I have 4 children's books. I have a training manual that I'm going back to help others, to do workshops to help others get their life back on track. I just love people. That's my gift, to show compassion, that I understand what it looked like when everyone else looked the other way. And so I'm just trying to show someone that I stand with them.
And so that leads to the next question is, you know, all the books, I know you do a lot of speaking as well. You probably do a lot of workshops. At the end of the day, what is the one message you want people to receive from you?
I want them to receive from me, own your space. You deserve to be here and fight for you and your goal just like the next person. There's no one else more special, more better than you. You deserve the same. Give yourself that opportunity to go after your dreams. And that's when, you know, I have people call me from around the world, email me. And it's not just women. I have guys have called or emailed and said, Dr. Holden, because of you, I told my wife or my grandmother or my mom, you're the reason why I went back to school. You're the reason why I went back and started job searching and, you know, getting my life together. And I was like, if I can just touch one person and inspire someone to get back in that ring and fight, then I believe I've done what God has called me to do.
Well, call yourself accomplished because you're touching me right now.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. You know, I'm sure that in the time of most trouble, or maybe growing up, or when you were a mother of 4 children by the age of 22, there's a belief system probably among other moms your age at the time or the same situation.
Yeah.
Why you? Why did you pull through? What are the myths or beliefs that those people hold that literally hold them incarcerated in their situation, hold them back?
Well, you know what, to be honest with you, although I'm no longer in that situation, I still deal with the residue.
Okay.
Yeah, the longer you're in something, the harder it is to transfer in your mind. That's probably why it was so hard for me to come out. And it's hard. To come from rock bottom, if God didn't step in, I would have not accomplished what I have accomplished in 10 years. that's the thing. I think it's the mindset. I believed the lies. I'm still retraining my mind every day, telling myself that I'm worth it. You can do it. Because like I said, it's that residue that leaves us in bondage. If we can find that we've, believed so many years. I think a lot of my sisters who still stuck, they just stuck in that mindset of what the world have told them, what abusive relationships have told them they're no one. And again, if they cry out to God, that's what I did. But it's a relationship with God. When you take a step, he take one towards you. And I think that's how me and him became like in a love tango. I took one step, he took one, and as long as I allowed him to lead, I was able to finish the task at hand.
I love that. And I think what you're saying, and it's so important that you say that, is that the beliefs that we hold in our head will manifest in our life if we are not watching.
Yes.
So what you did is that you recognized you couldn't do it alone. And that from the perspective you were holding, there was nobody, you had nobody that had shown you the way. Nobody had gone out.
No.
And you said, okay, I can take action. I just need guidance. And God was your guidance. And in many cases, it could be God, it could be the universe, it could be spirit.
Yes.
It could be a mentor. It doesn't matter. But I think what you're saying is that if I'm receiving this message like Dolores, there's always people around you or God around you who is willing to help. You just have to look for the signs. You just have to take action.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen overnight. Like I said, the last 10 years, I don't know, it was the most painful time of my life, to transform my mind. I was embarrassed. My kids were embarrassed. We were talking about being homeless for 2 years. We're struggling. We're going without basic necessities. It was an embarrassment, but if God was to call me home today, just to see my children had took the amount of leadership, I believe I've done my job. I believe ministry starts at home, then you go out. And so I'm very happy with seeing them leading and standing up for what they believe in.
I love it. And thank you for that. And thank you for dedicating now your life to spreading that message. It's truly needed. So let me ask you this. What are you excited about for the coming year?
Oh my new business. I launched on September the 1st, 3 Elements Inc. And I came up with the name because I was like, okay, God, how can I show love and compassion and still provide for my family? And since I don't have any corporate America background, I thought about who is LaTarsha? And I said, love, compassion, and service. Those are the 3 elements that makes up who I am. And so that's how I came up with my business name, 3 Elements Inc. And I provide I facilitate workshops and trainings and motivational speaker.
You got cut off because I want to make sure people listen to it. So you facilitate trainings, workshops, speaking, what else?
Yeah, but that was the 3 things: personal development, coaching. I facilitate workshops and trainings, and a motivational speaker.
Perfect. Yeah. Have you ever given a TED Talk?
No.
We should talk.
Yes. I've been trying, but I don't know how the process goes.
Okay.
So
one of the things, and you answered this, but I want everybody to hear, we are building a Clarity TV library or bookstore, and it's what is your favorite book of all times?
Right now, for the last 6 months, I've been big on studying logotherapy, Viktor Frankl, Search for Meaning. And so I'm big, and his philosophy is that if a person can bring meaning to their suffering, then their suffering is no longer suffering anymore. And so I'm big, so that's my study now. I'm studying deeper into logotherapy.
I love it because when I saw, we asked you this question when we were preparing for today, and I saw your answer, and you probably don't know this about me, but that is the one book that is required for my clients to read.
Oh, okay, awesome. Oh, wow.
Book that I say, even if you don't finish the whole book, No,
Oh,
my background. I'm European. My grandparents, emigrated from Europe because of the Second World War. I'm from Austria, and that's where Dr. Frankel is from. And I agree with you. If we can, I usually say, if we can live our purpose in the most catastrophic environment,
yes.
as you could imagine being a concentration camp, then we will continue living, and we will have a reason for living. So I
Oh
love
my
that we share
goodness.
that we have that in
Oh,
common.
that just blessed me. That book is like is I don't know. I read it every day. I probably don't read it at least twice over. I'm just the message of that. You know, if you can find meaning in your suffering, then it's no longer suffering. It's just, oh my goodness, I'm in love with that. I'm just in
Yeah,
love with that book.
yeah, absolutely. So, anything else you want to share with our audience? What is any other message you want me to ask you or to share?
Well, I want to let single mothers know, do not feel bad on what you can't give your children. You know, a lot of times we hold guilt. We feel bad. We feel ashamed. You did the best that you can do. I want to encourage you all. You're doing the best that you can do. It's a job. Like you said, raising kids, you know, if you're a single parent, it's definitely a job. Talk to your kids. Let them know what's going on. Be real. My kids have seen me depressed. They seen me cry. I mean, it was a journey. But I think it made them appreciate the journey more to see me go from point A to point B. Last year, my son called me and he said, you know, when they get grown, they rarely call, but he called and I was pulling in my driveway and he kind of, you know, when you see your children's number come up and they grown, you kind of get a little panic. And I was like, yes, son, how can I help you? He said, Mother, I would like for you to do me the honors of coming to Tennessee to pin me at my ceremony to Staff Sergeant Holden. And I was just like, oh, I'm just crying. I'm like, oh my goodness. But for him to give me that honor to do that was definitely one of the best things that happened in my life last year, along with running with for city council. That lets me know, keep going. Your kids are watching. Your kids are watching you, and don't be ashamed. We doing the best that we can do.
I love it. And I think that's such an important message because from what you're telling me, your children are stronger because
Yes.
of your journey.
Yes.
And that seeing their parents as human beings, it's such a huge lesson because we are real. We have feelings
Yeah.
and we succeed at some things, and there's
Exactly.
I'm a mess. I'm crying. I don't usually wear makeup for these because I've always cried. But yeah, it's, having our children just have a backstage pass to real life, and
Exactly.
that as long as we're loving them and we are cheering them on and everything else, it will be granted. It will be guided.
That, you know what, I just love the energy between this conversation. I just like to add, when my son graduated for boot camp, and I asked him, I said, son, how did you make it through the boot camp? The Marines have the hardest boot camp. And he said, well, mother, I thought about you. He said, I know you cried. I heard you crying many nights. I know no one will help us in the family. And I know you was embarrassed. He said, but you could have did anything. He said, you're a nice looking woman. You could have gave us up for adoption. You could have started drinking and drugs. He said, but you did not do any of that stuff. You kept us together. And he said, I thought to myself, my mother can keep going, then I can keep going. And he said, that's how he made it through the Marine boot camp. And I was like, wow. So I just told my daughter when she got on that bus, I said, you're a leader. You're going to come back a soldier. You go there with your heart. You do everything, you know, give it all you got. And I see you at boot camp graduation.
Oh, that just made my day. So I just want to say thank you for the gift of your insights and your story and your energy. I just can't thank you enough for you taking this time, and um, and just know that you now have a new friend. Uh,
Thank you.
Through me and through everybody that follows me and that is watching this video. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very, very, very welcome.